Thanks for joining me for episode 2 of the Android Show. So, Mobile World Congress has come and gone now, and these we're gonna go over 3 devices today that really caught my eye. Some of them are pretty high end, not something I would normally uh, be paying too much attention to as far as what I would normally buy to carry. But the specs are interesting nonetheless because they're really pushing the high end of what's possible in a mobile phone of this size, and some of these specs will make their way into more affordable phones, albeit in 2 or 3 years. But it's coming nonetheless. So, firstly, we have the Honor Magic 4 Pro, and Android Authority did a good job covering this. They also have a video hands-on with it, which I would encourage you to go watch. The fellow that put that together did a good job. Um, Honor Magic 4 Pro. So, in late 2020, Huawei sold off its Honor subsidiary brand for obvious reasons. So, if you remember, Huawei, all hardware and all of their phones also were banned from being sold in the United States um, a couple of years ago at this point. So, it sold off the brand, the Honor brand. Huawei did. Honor was sort of a mid-range to low-end brand, and they sold it off, and now they are being. This is their first phone that they've come out available in the United States. It would be. They explain here. It would be over half a year before Honor would release its first phone as an independent company, the Honor V40. Then it launched the Honor Magic 3 series, but not globally. So when I was referring to that earlier, it would be the first one they've been able to release in the United States. However, at Mobile World Congress 2022, the company is finally launching its very first global premium flagship, the Honor Magic 4 Pro. With this phone, Honor is coming out of the gate guns blazing. A lot of brands might elect to slowly build up momentum in the premium flagship space to test waters, but not Honor. The Magic 4 Pro is a beast of a device that exists as a statement of intent, and it's a bold statement. But beyond the marketing jargon and posturing, what is the phone really like? In this early Honor Magic 4 Pro preview from MWC, we'll tell you how we feel about the phone thus far. So as you can see, the main standout feature, at least on the body, is this giant camera module on the back. You know, Huawei had a phone with a giant camera module like that on the back. And Honor obviously came from Huawei, but it also reminds me of the Lumia 1020 with that big Oreo on the back. And let's get into the camera specs, because we could talk about the look and feel and the software that Honor has on here, but really what people came to see is the camera module. Now they're calling this the Eye of Muse, which is a little silly if you ask me. So let's read about the camera here. It's impossible to ignore the enormous camera module on the back of the Honor Magic 4 Pro. The company legitimately refers to it as the Eye of Muse. Okay, that's pretty funny. Which is pretty pretentious. Regardless of Penta sensor system includes the following: 50 megapixel wide angle camera, 50 megapixel ultra wide. Now I've noticed most of the time when you see camera setup with multiple cameras on the back of even premium phones, you get high megapixel count on your main camera. In this case, the wide, and your ultra wide gives you super wide lens, right? But it doesn't tend to be as high a megapixel count, and usually it doesn't have as good of performance in low light or even high dynamic range. Isn't great. So it's interesting that they both have the same megapixel count here, which doesn't mean it's a good camera, but 64 megapixel periscope telephoto, laser autofocus, flicker sensor. So that's what your 5 sensor slash cameras are here on the back. All in all, the system on the back of the Galaxy S22 Ultra is better than what we see here. However, the Magic 4 Pro setup is certainly premium flagship material and should allow people to get amazing results for photography and video. You can see some quick shots below. Be sure to check out the Honor Magic 4 Pro camera early impressions for more samples and analysis. I was really impressed right off the bat with the dynamic range in this photo here, because it's pretty dark down here on the road, and then you have this light color here from this building just in the sun here, and it's doing a good job of both of them, really. So, and what else do we have here? This dynamic range for this one I was not impressed with as much. This seems, of course, the sky is very bright, but this seems very dark to me. And then here is an example of, you can see here, the ultra wide camera. This is going to be your normal camera. The 3.5x zoom and the 10x zoom. The telephoto lens, let's see. We found the camera to be fast. Let's get their impressions of it. They have actually used it and easy to use. There are some confusing settings though throughout. For example, it has both video and movie modes, which would seem to be the same but aren't. The movie mode is a mixed capture of 4K 30 FPS, while the video mode can get up to 4K 60 FPS. We'll need to thoroughly test the differences between these two modes. The telephoto lens has a 3.5x optical zoom and the ability to go all the way up to 100x digital zoom. We found zoom up to 10x was terrific, 30x was good, and anything beyond was mush. To be fair, we saw the same thing on the Galaxy S22 Ultra, so the Honor Magic 6 Pro is still competitive. I believe they mean Magic 4. So this is where they're standing. This is like a normal picture you'd get from your phone. It looks like they're across the intersection here. From this goofy looking building, to me looks like a bone or something. So that's the 3.5x zoom. This is just the optical zoom here. And then here's with the digital zoom. This is 10x. That's pretty impressive. Way beyond anything I can do with a Pixel 3a XL. I'm pretty impressed with these pictures overall. This one's great. That looks fantastic. Of course, the lighting's great. See the detail on this motorcycle here it's pretty good. It's obviously I need to clean it, right? So far the camera looks pretty good. A lot of light behind this fellow. It's still a pretty good photo. I don't know if this is going to be like a it looks like it's a portrait mode, and if so, the software has done a very good job. That's a very nice portrait image. It's very good. And then they wrap up here. When people think about premium flagships, they likely don't think of Honor. For years, the brand has been all about delivering decent specs at reasonable prices while leaving the premium territory to Huawei. With Honor no longer beholden to Huawei, though, the company can finally spread its wings. The Honor Magic 4 Pro might not be perfect, but it seems like a terrific addition to this sector. Of course, this only matters if Honor actually delivers the product to a global audience. With the Magic 3 and Magic V series never making it outside of China, we are slightly skeptical. Yeah, obviously this doesn't matter much to the United States if it never makes it out of China. If Honor doesn't keep its commitment to delivering this global customers, it will be a shame. Even with all the specs pedigree on board here, Honor's still keeping things relatively reasonable as far as pricing goes. The base Honor Magic 4 Pro starts at £1,099. That's $1,229, which is significantly cheaper than the entry-level Galaxy S22 Ultra, which is $1,400. Okay, so I get that it's cheaper than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which is $1,400, but $1,200 is still way beyond what most normal people can and would pay for a phone. So I appreciate the competition to Samsung, and if it makes them bring their the prices down, great. I don't think people are going to be rushing out to get this because it's so much cheaper than the Samsung phone. Time will tell if the camera and software experience of the Magic 4 Pro measures up to the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Hopefully, at some point, we'll see a camera comparison. That would be really good. Also, some low light photos would be good. Hopefully, Honor will announce availability details of the Magic 4 series soon. In the meantime, stay tuned for a full review of this upcoming smartphone. Let's see. And we're going to open this here. More impressions on the camera. And what we're really looking for is just some test photos of anything in the dark. See, it's fairly dark in here, but you've got a light. That looks kind of noisy to me. Yes. Okay, no more images there. I was afraid of that. So nextly we have... Nextly? Is nextly a word? I'm not sure. This goes right along with that Honor phone as far as super high-end. This is even more so by Lenovo. Lenovo Legion Y90 gaming smartphone unveiled alongside new Legion Y700 tablet. What a widescreen that is. Lenovo announced several new laptops and peripherals during MWC 2022, and the company finally unveiled its latest gaming smartphone, the Lenovo Y90. Lenovo also unveiled a brand new tablet, the Y700, with a Snapdragon 870 chipset. Both of the devices pack a lot of powerful hardware and impressive specifications. Yes, we're all impressed. This looks like a second screen to me. Actually, I believe they say later on it's RGB. It's probably just a logo that changes color. So let's get into the smartphone here. The new Lenovo Legion Y90 has a large 6.92, so it's basically a 7-inch phone. AMOLED display with 144 Hz refresh rate and 720 Hz touch sampling rate. HDR10 plus, and it has a peak brightness of 1300 nits, which is very bright. The phone has a traditional top bezel that houses the single 16 megapixel selfie shooter. The inside of the smartphone packs a punch, and it has dual cooling fans, an RGB lit panel on the back, must be the logo, 6 pressure sensitive zones, interesting, and 4 ultrasonic buttons on the top, as well as 2 capacitive sliding buttons on the back. The device is powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset, and it has 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, or 16//256, and 18 gigs of RAM / 640 gigabytes of memory. And storage configurations. The 640 gigabyte storage is a result of 512 gigabytes UFS storage and 128 gigabyte SSD. That is a dang lot of storage. The camera, but if you're downloading a bunch of games that are 1 or 2 gig, or maybe even more, you're going to need that. The camera on the back houses a 64 megapixel f1.9 primary sensor and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. This is an example of what I was saying earlier about the ultra wide camera not being as high spec. Of course, this isn't, people that buy this aren't going to buy it from the camera, but it would be interesting to see what kind of pictures you get from it anyway. The gaming phone supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. It also has it lacks a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, but at least it still has NFC. The optical fingerprint sensor is placed under the display. Yeah, with all this malarkey going on in the back, I guess they couldn't fit the fingerprint sensor. So apparently somewhere on the back are some capacitive sliding buttons. So it'll be interesting to see what you can do with those. The lack of headphone jack, that doesn't seem to be in keeping with the gaming nature of this, but maybe more gamers use Bluetooth than I would imagine. The device has a 5,600 mAh battery, and it supports 68 watt fast charging. So that's a large battery for a phone. I would say most of them, unless you get to really big ones, are 4,000, around there, maybe a little more. But you're going to need that for that display and those fans. My goodness. The phone runs Android 12 with ZUI 13. Lenovo says it can go from 0 to 100% charge in 35 minutes. Now that's impressive. And like the other Lenovo gaming smartphones in the lineup, it has 2 USB-C ports on the bottom and 1 on the side. I did not see that the first time. So it has 3 USB-C ports. 3. Now, what would be the purpose of 3 USB-C ports? It has two USB-C ports, one on the bottom, and okay, so it has two. And I'm not sure why you would need more than one, unless you have a, it could be using a USB-C controller, I suppose, and you want to charge it while you're playing. I could see that, but two definitely makes more sense than three. The Lenovo Legion Y90 is already up for pre-orders in China. It'll be available March 10th for the standard 12 gig of RAM, 256 gig storage. Will go for around $680, and that's what I can't understand is the price. That is incredibly inexpensive. I mean, you're still getting 12 gigs of RAM here and a quarter of a terabyte of storage. How is that only $680 when this Huawei monstrosity here? Going back to the Huawei, you're gonna have to let me know in the comments if you think this looks good. This is intriguing. This band around the outside and the it's not even here. I like that. And the red power button is cool. But this, to me, just looks more premium. It looks kind of like a Porsche phone or something. It's something crazy you would spend a lot of money on. That like a super high end premium that kind of like a fashion deal. It looks more like I could almost see a an analog clock here, which they totally should have done. With that price, it's it's half the price of the Honor phone, but that's great. That's a good thing. It's just very surprising. Now on to the tablet here. This is more of a this is definitely not a 16 by 9 aspect ratio here. Maybe it is. It's definitely more squared, like we've seen in some of the um, oh, what's that brand of tablet? It does more of these squared ones here instead of the the super long. It's funny because they've got uh, the more squared aspect ratio here for the tablet, whereas the phone is super wide. So that's interesting. So the Y700 features 8.8-inch LCD display. So you see, this is not even an inch larger than the phone, but with that aspect ratio being more kind of more of a fat aspect ratio instead of super stretched out, you're actually getting a lot more real estate for that less than 1 inch screen. Resolution of 256, 2560 by 1600, 120 hertz refresh rate, 240 hertz touch sampling. It supports HDR10, 500 nits of peak brightness, and the tablet also packs a pair of JBL branded speakers on the side. Well, at least it has dual speakers. It would be nice if they were on opposite sides, but it supports Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos for a better experience. The Legion Y700 is powered by a Snapdragon 870 chipset and has 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gig of storage. There's also 12 gig, 256 gig storage configurations. The storage can also be expanded thanks to micro SD card slot. That's something they didn't mention on the phone, but I suppose it doesn't. Bluetooth 5.1, Wi-Fi 6, and it has headphone jack. Ta-da! Lenovo Y700 is a 6,550 milliamp hour battery, and Lenovo says it will last 6 hours while playing games. It supports 45-watt fast charging. Lenovo says it can charge up the device from 0 to 100% in just 45 minutes. Up for pre-order in China, and it's starting at $430. Well, the American dollar equivalent. That's not too expensive either. That's a good price. That's pretty high spec for the price. So $399 would be a little more enticing, but that's pretty good because if this gets released in the United States, it will go on sale for $399 very quickly. You'll be able to find it for cheaper. You'll be able to get refurbished ones, slightly used ones for $350, and within a year, probably $299. So that would be great. And this Xiaomi phone, which will probably not come to the United States, looks a lot like that Huawei phone. Or, excuse me, it's not a Huawei phone, it's Honor. And while we're on the subject of tablets, lastly, we're going to be looking at this Lenovo Duet Chromebook 3. Now, this is the Android show. We're also going to be covering Chrome OS and the like. the the Chromebook Duet, when it first came out in 2020, was a very inexpensive tablet that most people agreed was very well done. It was hard. There was a point where I was trying to buy one locally, and they were hard to find. But that was, that was during the beginning of the pandemic, where a lot of people were staying home and using devices for Zoom and things like that. So that's not surprising, because it was hard to find any low-end laptop or a Chromebook at that point. And this is they came out with a larger version, the Chromebook Duet 5, and this is the the newer version of the smaller one, which has the smaller one had a 10-inch screen, the larger one had a 13.3-inch screen, or something to that effect. Like its predecessor, this small system is a detachable tablet running Chrome OS. It's an update to the $249 Chromebook Duet, and I saw the Duet on sale. I don't even know if it was on sale, but Walmart had them for $229. And at points I found them online for $199. But right after that, they started getting more scarce, and then I didn't see those prices for long. Which sold in droves during the pandemic as an affordable and portable device for light work, education, and play, sized well for kids. The new model joins the IdeaPad line. The older was just a Duet. Of course, they had to just add another name to it. So this is what? Is this an IdeaPad Duet? Is that what they're calling it? Bring a slightly larger screen alongside some other improvements. The IdeaPad Duet 3 Chromebook will launch in May. Why don't they call it a Pro? They should just stick Pro in here too. Starting at $399, significantly more expensive. This is getting up closer to that Y90 tablet price, but excuse me. But this comes with a very nice keyboard and this cover on the back here. Let's see here. Designed first of basics. Despite the physical changes that I'll get to, this is in fact still a Chromebook device running Chrome OS. This Duet 5 sibling, also announced today, is pivoting to Intel CPU and Windows 11 support. Duet 5i, excuse me. And that would be interesting to see how well Windows 11 supports on that. And of course, running Android apps at some point too. But the Duet 3 should appeal to the same audience as the original, just with an upgraded experience and upgraded price to boot. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 7C Gen 2 processor is powerful, powering the device, and it can be equipped with a 4 gig or 8 gigabyte memory, as well as 64 gig, 128 or 256. Yeah, 128 would probably be the sweet spot. 8 gigs of memory, fantastic. As mentioned, the display is now larger than the original, and I don't think you get the original with 8 gigs of RAM or with 256 storage. I don't think that was possible. Larger than the original display, so it's nearly an inch larger, coming in at 11 inches, where the original was 10.1. 2K resolution, 5:3 aspect ratio, and it features both touch input and stylus support. Well, unless it's some sort of active stylus or some fancy stylus they made for it, every capacitive screen or non-actually resistive screen would work with a stylus, so that's kind of pointless to point that out. Despite the larger screen, portability is still key. The tablet measures 0.31 inches by 10.2 inches by 6.5. 0.31 is very thin. But the question is, what does it measure with the... because this is a magnetic cover that that snaps on the back, and it gives you a kickstand, and then of course you have the keyboard here. So we need a thickness of all of them put together. It may double the thickness or close to it. And it weighs less than a pound. The folio part is a magnetic stand for the backside, which can snap flat or be extended Microsoft Surface style as a leg to support the screen. You can pull it off along with the detachable keyboard portion and just use the Duet 3 as a straight up tablet. The tablet comes in 2 colors, dark storm gray and a much lighter misty blue. One handy feature you might say is the is anti-hand. If you rotate the keyboard back behind the device to hold it like a tablet rather than pulling it off, the keys are automatically locked to prevent accidental presses. That's a must. It is a nice inclusion for any user, but should be especially helpful for your younger kids in educational settings. Yes, so it comes with two USB-C ports, so if you want to plug in another display while you're charging or something else you can. The original Duet only had one C port. Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 5, rated for 12 hours of battery life, but obviously we'll see how that goes. They never get what they're rated, right? So I wouldn't count on it for more than 8 or 9. The Qualcomm Snapdragon-based device, so we would not expect barn-burning performance for heavy multitasking, but for the single focus types of use, it will likely be subject to. In schools or for video watching and web browsing, it should suffice. I would recommend watching the video hands-on first look, I guess, from the YouTube channel called Chrome Unboxed. They do a good job. I always check them out for Chromebook information. They have he's got some good thoughts on it. So I would recommend you check that out. But those are 3 devices that have caught my eye for MWC 2022. So just to recap, Honor Magic, the not Huawei Honor Magic 4 Pro, the Y90 Lenovo, and Y700 in the Legion line for gamers, and of course the Duet 3 Chromebook. IdeaPad Duet 3, because I didn't have enough names. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll catch up with you next time. And we'll get you caught up next time with more news in the Android space. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.